Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne. I'm the author of 215 non-fiction Christian teaching books on Amazon under the name Matthew Robert Payne. And on my YouTube channel here, you'll find that I've been going for many years and I've got 6,100 videos. What do you do when your dreams don't come true? How do you cope when your dreams don't come true? I grew up uh, and I grew up in a Baptist church, and later on in life, around about the age of 27, I started to go to Pentecostal churches, and I got baptized in the Holy Spirit. And if you're just a regular Christian, you might not believe in that, but the Holy Spirit has nine gifts, and there's the gift of prophecy, there's the gift of word of knowledge, and there's the gift of word of wisdom. And those three prophetic gifts are three distinct types of prophecy, and they work together if you get a personal prophecy. And you could say that the psychic gifts are similar to that, and people who get spiritual readings get the same sort of message. So, what do you do if you had desires? What do you do if you had plans? And God seemed to back up the plans, yet they never came true. How do you cope with that? Well, I just want to share briefly how I came to terms with it, and am still coming to terms with not seeing my dreams come true. When my wife left me when I was 27 years of age, it really broke my heart. My wife was a friend and a good lover, and she was a loving mother to my child. And so it truly broke my heart when she left me. And uh, since 27, I've only really had one girlfriend for a while, and you'll be surprised if you read my books. I've got a book called He's Redeeming Love, which is the story of my life. But if you read my books in the last 5 to 10 years, you'll realize that I had a long-standing addiction to prostitutes, and my second girlfriend was became a fiance, and she was a prostitute that I was seeing regularly every Friday night, and I ended up dating her, ended up becoming her boyfriend. But since I broke up with her, Jesus actually told her that she wasn't to marry me, and since I broke up with her, I really haven't had a girlfriend. They've got a modern name for it these days in the popular culture. They call who I am an incel. For over 40 years, because I had no girlfriend, and I had this desire for intimacy, a desire for contact with women, and because I haven't had friends that are girls. I haven't had any girls as friends. For years, all I had as a friend was my mother. Um, so I had an addiction to prostitutes for over 40 years, and I also had an addiction to pornography. And touch wood, I've broken those addictions and I've come out of that. But since I was 27, I've been lonely and sad, and slowly I developed a mental illness, and slowly I put on a lot of weight, and I'm not eating right. I don't exercise, and when a doctor was writing a reference to allow me to get like a diet meal plan delivered to my house. He wrote on the reference that Matthew is morbidly obese, and that's the first time I'd heard those words before. It was depressing, but since I was 27, I really only had two desires. I had a person prophesy just after my wife died, and he said that he can see me in this really dark tunnel, and I don't think I'm going to ever come out of this dark tunnel, but I am going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm going to come out into the light, and then God's going to do some healing in my life, and then he's going to raise me up and use me in ministry. And just as Billy Graham's name was known throughout the nation, so shall your name be. And at that time, Billy Graham was the most popular evangelist in the world. So that was that was a pretty huge prophecy for me to, God was saying I was going to be well known, just as big as Billy Graham. And then over the course of 30 years, I had about 150 personal prophecies that said I was going to be an international speaker and international prophet. Since 27, 30, 35, in those years, I only had two desires. I had a desire to have a second wife, and I had a desire to have this international ministry. And I used to I used to claim the promise, Psalm 37:4, which said, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." And I only had two desires, for a wife and for me to be used powerfully in ministry. And it got to a stage where, I got called. I definitely got called by God when I was 14 into full-time ministry. And by the time uh, by the time I became 54, I was pretty much giving up because Moses had his calling, and it wasn't until 40 years later that he entered into the calling. And when I'd gone 40 years since my calling, I started to have doubts whether it was going to happen. But I had all these 100 prophecies or more that said that I was going to be used in international ministry. And I had 10 prophecies out of the hundreds of prophecies. I had 10 prophecies talking about a second wife. And so I finally reached a stage a few years ago where I said to Jesus, it was like September of one year, and my birthday was in March, and I was turning a certain number. I think it was 56, and I said to Jesus, because I'm really close to Jesus, I said to Jesus, if I haven't met the woman that's going to be my second wife by the age of 56, by my birthday, I want you to take away my desire for a second wife, because, it's breaking my heart. It's, there's a verse in the Bible, I forget it, I haven't read the Bible for many years, but, it says, unaccomplished desire makes the heart sick, or something like that. And my heart was getting sick. I was getting to a point where, it's hard to live celibate as a male, as an obese male. A lot of people don't treat you well, and it's hard to live without a Christian girlfriend, a Christian friend that's a girl, and life was pretty hard for me. And I was talking to one female that had read my books a few years ago, and I was talking to her. She'd read books of mine. She knew me, and I was talking to her over Facebook video one time, and and I was saying I think I'm going to give up on being an international prophet, and I think I'm going to give up on having a second wife. I think I'm just going to forget about it and stop wishing for it and bury it. And she said, "Oh, that's what God said to you. God has already said to you that you're not going to be an international prophet." And I said, "When did he say that?" She said, In your book, Conversations with God, book 3, God said that he's not going to make you an international prophet, but he wants to keep you to himself so you can minister to his heart and you can be his friend. And he said, if you become an international prophet, you won't have the time to be his friend and spend time with him. And that was a revelation to me. And I went and got the book on Kindle and I read it, and I cried. I was emotional because it really broke my heart. Uh, a couple of years ago, round about my birthday, a week after my birthday, when I'd asked the Lord to reveal the wife, I was feeling down. I had a few issues in my life I was battling with, and I was looking for an online prophet to write to and ask a question and or to write to and get some encouragement from God through another person. And I kept on looking at different internet sites and internet prophets, and I wasn't feeling like a go-ahead with any of them. I wasn't feeling comfortable. And I've got a pet. I've got a female angel that I've worked with for years that I had a good relationship with. And when I couldn't find um, a prophet to give me encouraging prophecy, um, my angel Bethany said to me, um, "Why don't you uh, write down a list of saints that can speak encouraging words of you in heaven, and you can get your mother and father, you can get the angels that you know, and you can get Jesus and God, and put together a list, and put them all on a list, and do videos with each of them, speaking of your life according to these 3 issues." And she gave me the idea of recording it all and getting it made into a book. So I always liked doing books, and I got the messages of all the saints, and they were encouraging. When I got to Jesus, when Jesus was speaking, he said he's going to have Bethany, my scribe angel, become my helpmate, and just like Adam had Eve, I'm giving Bethany to you to be your helpmate. And that was essentially saying that this angel that I've been working with for 15 years, had a relationship with, she was going to step into the role of basically my wife, my partner. And so that was a bit surprised, and God, Jesus sort of ordained that. And over the past 2 or 3 years, I've really grown close to her. So I never got the international ministry, but in the last 2.5 years, I've been used to channel God I've got a co-author, Tolu Sarah Johnson, who asks God questions, and over the course of 400 videos, we've done at least 400 hours worth of interviews with God, and God's been speaking through me. She's been asking God questions, and God's been answering through me. So God spoke through me as led by the Holy Spirit. And all those interviews are on YouTube on my channel in three main playlists. And you can write in the description tag and ask me what the playlist those videos are on. But in the course of those 400 videos, each of the interviews, when we do the interviews, we actually appear in heaven. Me and Tolu sit on a stage in heaven, and people are live in a stadium listening to the interviews as they're done live. And the interviews are required listening to everyone in heaven. So in the last in the last 2.5 years, I've built a reputation in heaven, and heaven is made up of many countries. It's very vast, and I've got this huge reputation. My reputation is a whole lot huger than that of Billy Graham or Benny Hinn or any popular Christian. I've got such a greater name in heaven than any Christian minister on earth. And since we've been doing the videos, Tolu is one of the most hungry Christians I've ever met, and she's given questions by Bethany, my scribe angel, and she's inspired with her questions, and she keeps on asking questions. She's asked 2 to 3 thousand questions over the last 2.5 years, and she never ends with her questions. She never stops. She keeps on coming forth with questions. Well, God has never been known in heaven like he is. He's a private person, and it's like God has been lying down on the couch, and he's had a therapist interviewing him and asking him questions, and he's just been speaking, and it's like if all the interviews were printed in books, there'd be more than 10,000 pages. Like uh, God's conversation, God's dialogue would be bigger than the Bible. And I've heard the Holy Spirit say there's an Old Testament, a New Testament, and a modern Testament, and that our interviews are the Third Testament. And so I didn't get the wife, but I did get the wife. I just got to wait 5 or 10 years until I get to heaven, and me and Bethany will be united. It takes a lot of faith to believe that you can be married to an angel, and you can say I'm mentally ill and I'm deceived and I'm delusional. And that may be so. Bethany's a real entity, and she's proven that she's really loyal to me. She's been a really good friend, and I don't really mind. I'm free of my prostitution now. I'm free of the pornography now. I don't get drove in a bad way sexually anymore, and I've got Tolu as a good friend, as a female friend, and I'm coping fairly well. So I don't mind if I'm wrong about Bethany being my wife when I get to heaven, and she treats me like a wife already, and but I don't mind if I'm wrong about that. I'm doing like an amazing work in heaven through the course of these interviews because I've been listening to God answer all these questions for all this time. Heaven has been totally transformed, and it says in Revelation, I rather you be hot nor cold, but because you're lukewarm, I'm gonna vomit you out of my mouth. And a Christian, a person when they're new to being a Christian, they're on fire. They're really zealous. They're really excited. But spend enough time in a church, and you become lukewarm, and uh, and so the whole of heaven is on. So many people in heaven are on fire now and really growing deeper and more intimate with God. So I didn't get my dream on earth, but it's happening in heaven. Um, each night when I go to sleep, I spend time in heaven meeting, greeting people, and teaching and doing interviews and doing all sorts of things in heaven. But when I wake up, I don't remember it. It's not like a dream of walking through heaven, and I don't see it in my dream. But I'm aware that it's happening. So, how it was devastating to find out that I'm not going to have this second wife, and I wasn't going to have an earthly ministry, international ministry. And God said to me clearly that He allowed all those lies, He allowed all those false prophets to keep me alive, all those false prophecies to keep me alive, because if I didn't have those prophecies give me hope, I would have suicided. And I'm not aware of many people. I don't know everyone's story, but on 4 occasions I've been on the way to kill myself, and God has sent someone to intervene and make me change my mind. And so I've lived a pretty sad life, and God definitely needed some misinterpreted prophecies to keep me alive and give me hope. And when He didn't need those prophecies in my life anymore to give me hope, He revealed uh, that they were just there to keep me alive. Um, so I'll never. God's told me, some people do a video and magically YouTube gets it, and in with like providence, a video goes viral and suddenly a person is discovered. And God has told me He's serious about me being His friend and just doing the hour interview each day with Him, and that I'll never be popular. I'll never have 5 or 10 or 100 or 300 emails each day from strangers asking me questions. I'm not going to travel from church to church. I'm not ever going to be popular on earth. I'm always going to be hidden, and people aren't going to really know me. And I've tried many things. I've listened to many videos, how to promote your videos and how to optimize your videos. And I've done everything and it's never worked. And God's reassured me that I'm making a great effect in heaven, and all my prophecies are coming true, and I'm teaching in heaven, and I'm bringing good messages to the people of heaven in my sleep. So, in the end, I guess the main takeaway for this message is you need to really trust God uh, and forgive God, and understand that God's ways are higher than our ways, and we should understand his methods and accept what our cards were dealt, and just continue to trust and stand on his promises. So I had that on my mind in the last 24 hours to share that. I don't have a lot of people watching my videos, and but I do have a couple of people that support me, that watch all my videos, and so I want to thank those people, Jeremy and Ronald and Johannes and Barry. If you hear this video, I'm really thankful to you. I hope some of you were encouraged by this and find some meaningful understanding in this. God bless.